Welcome to Biz Tips with Jenny Rice, bringing you insights from real entrepreneurs. No fluff, just raw, practical strategies from those who've been in the trenches. Whether you're launching, scaling, or pivoting, this podcast is your backstage pass to lessons, successes, and game-changing tips. Get ready to learn, take action, and level up. Let's dive in with our next guest.
Hi, this is Jenny Rice with AI Biz Tips Podcast. I'm so excited about our guest today. We have Karan Bavandi from Optimal Access. I got that right. Welcome.
Thank you, Jenny. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have your guest. I was reading your background. It's very fascinating. So why don't you start with a little bit about your serial entrepreneurial journey, because I'm sure it's very fascinating.
I've been a member of multiple startups. I have been at this project on and off for over 20, 25 years.
Wow.
I have a particular interest in sharing wisdom and knowledge. And I created Optimal Access with the intention of how do you organize access to knowledge and how do you share that knowledge effectively? Basically, indexing everything that you have ever read, produced, and consumed, if you care to save it. That's what, and the name Optimal Access comes from there, to create an optimal access to your information and knowledge. And the reason optimal, because it's a continuous process. It's not something that you do once and then that's it, but you have to be added. And it's a marriage between humans and the machines that they use in order to produce results.
Yeah. Well, I love not only the language you use, the optimal access, but there's so much information out there, AI, everything else, and it gets confusing and overwhelming. So if you can have a tool, that will help people organize all of their data, all their content, like you said, to reference it, everything you want in one handy place, what a added benefit this tool will have.
Absolutely. I mean, AI has brought it all together. So I've had tools for organizing access to information. And I always felt the vision was there are different apps to use for different purposes. For example, I use Notion to take notes. You have information that comes to you at your emails. You may be watching YouTube videos that inform you or reading articles and posts that inform you. And each one of them is in a different platform.
Mm-hmm.
So we need tools in order to organize access to that information, because the access to the information is key for any individual or practitioner, and to optimize it. And that's what the tools that we have created over the years, that was the intention. And then, so once we created the tools to organize access to information, then the question was, well, how do you share that effectively? And it created some publishing tools in order to share that information. And in the last couple of years, I was actually working on Notion, and Notion has an AI chatbot tool where you can ask and it looks through all of your notes and it comes up. And I realized that is perfect for what we do. So then I started developing KChat about a year and a half ago, and KChat is that tool. It's a tool that allows you to find answers. It has multiple applications. Initially, it was just, okay, this is my question, find the right content and make it source backed and lead me to the source. So one application I've always felt is for content creators. For example, you create all of these podcasts and you have different guests who come here. People may be watching this. Maybe they hear something that they like. So how do you make it easy for them to come back and reference that information very quickly, to use it for their own research or maybe use it to share it online? And that's what KChat allows you to do. But it also allows you to use all of your research, for example, to generate content and blog posts. And that's the beauty of AI. And that's what through this exercise, I came to understand that, once you create a tool, then the prompting allows you to have a lot of different types of applications for the same exact tool. So with our tools, users have the ability to generate new prompts, and those prompts will then have different types of applications, like generating long-form content or creating an index into the information that they can use to share on social media.
That's great. So not only is it a tool to organize and share information, but it's a way to get more information on and, have access to where that source data is, like you said, right?
Absolutely. Always important. I'm sure you've heard of hallucination. So what KChat is a RAG GPT solution, a retrieval-augmented generation. So if you go to an LLM like ChatGPT and you ask questions of it, it generates answers, but a lot of times you don't know what the source is, whether the sources are valid. And that's called hallucination. Whereas when you use your own knowledge base and you ask it to only generate answers from your own knowledge base, then you are solving the problem of hallucination. And moreover, you're getting the reference link of where it generated that answer from.
I see.
Not only it has applications like content repurposing, social media organization, but it also solves the problem of hallucination for the users.
I did not realize that. Thank you for that. I've learned something new about that. So it's making sure you know where the source data is and it's relevant to what you're doing, because you said, do I trust the source? Because you don't really know where it's all coming from, right?
And I feel like people who want to learn about AI and in the future, AI is certainly now a tool that is a must-have if you're going to operate in this environment. And what I see is that there is practitioners, the value that they are going to create is their knowledge of how to use AI. So one knowledge is prompting. How do you create prompts to generate the right answer for you?
Mm-hmm.
But the other side of the equation is the content and understanding whether the answer that is being generated is viable or not. And when you have your own knowledge base, then your familiarity with how AI operates is going to be elevated, and that's a skill set that you are going to be able to market in the future.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really understanding, and when you have a knowledge base, when you have content that you have curated and you're familiar with, then you're a much better judge of, okay, is this answer accurate or does it do what I want it to do? So you can then experiment with your prompting and with the content to create a solution that will address the needs of yourself and your clients.
That's so great, because we make a lot of assumptions about AI, and the everyday person who's leveraging AI but might not be an expert like you doesn't know, the little holes in it and the little issues. So this can be a really good big help to say, I want to make sure my content source is valid. I want to make sure my knowledge source is valid for me and my business and what I offer, right?
Absolutely. So there are two subjects, and I've learned about them by doing the research, that are critical in learning about AI. One is the problem of alignment. And alignment is you give it a prompt, but it doesn't always follow your instructions. And this is a problem that people who are creating these LLMs, they are researching this. How does this happen? How is it that I've given this prompt and 3 times it generates answers based on what I'm telling it, and the 4th time it does something that is not exactly what I wanted it to be? And the other one is the problem of interpretability. So even people who have created these technologies, they don't understand how AI goes about all the time to answer the questions the way that it answers them. So it's a big black box, even for people who are creating this. And I feel like because, the algorithms and the technology is so complicated, there are so many different parameters that go into generating these answers, that these people don't, even the engineers don't understand it. And they're all constantly trying to say, okay, AI just generated this answer, but why did it generate this answer? But I feel for practitioners, people who want to give services, the knowledge of alignment and predictability is something that is marketable. They can help themselves understand and their clients understand by having a knowledge base that they have curated. And as a result, when the answers come back, they can be a very good judge of, well, how good is this answer, or is this doing what I really want it to do?
That's so important, because I think there's a bit of an ignorance block with some AI and people, how they use it, in that, wow, this is the word of absolute, right? It's got to be correct. But you're right. I've used AI and I put a prompt in there, go, where the hell did that come from? That didn't make any sense. So it's not perfect, right?
And when you look at AI, I mean, they're trained, somebody used the word for it, they're trained to be helpful. So however you ask the question, it will always formulate its answers based on how you ask the question. So people always feel like, oh, look, this is like, it really understands me. But the algorithms are designed in a way that it formulates it that way. And then when you have the source content, and then you can go back to the source, then you can get the larger context of, oh, okay, this is what was meant. That's why I have the Awaken the Wonder logo. AI is really good at leading people into the types of information that they may not be familiar with, but then they can go investigate and find out. I think one of the benefits of what the AI generation will learn is they will learn how to ask questions.
Yes.
Not to just take what is given to them, but investigate, ask questions, ask different, learning to inquire and be curious.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's, in my view, a general mindset of an entrepreneur anyway, because your journey isn't set. Your journey isn't linear. You have to take your own initiative. So if you just make assumptions and take things for granted, you're missing an opportunity to really do more, be more, and offer more too.
Absolutely.
So what a great tool that you're going to add to people. I guess people generally, and very specific people that are really leveraging AI tools, right? And want to, like you said, curate their information. This tool sounds really transformational. So congratulations on that.
Today I had a meeting with this company whose tool I'm going to use. I forgot the name of it, but basically they do audience simulation. And one of the features that they have is that you can curate your own information, feed it into their system, and then it's going to use that to learn, about the kinds of topics or the kinds of people that you want to address or, create personas from. So a lot of, all of these tools, they get better when you give it the right content and the right context.
It's garbage in, garbage out otherwise, right?
Exactly. And the more that you are involved in creating the profile and the context, the better your answers are going to be. And that's a kind of tool that can be used. For example, one of the target markets for me are journalists or are organizations who want to defeat fake news, for example. So by curating news and information from credible sources, now every time people ask questions, it's going to generate its answers from the context that is verified by them. So everybody can now be an editor and take editorial control over the content that they are producing or using as the knowledge base to generate answers. Yeah.
That's great. Well, I can see that really the value of your tool has that. And, as we end this podcast, and thank you for all your information you've shared, do you have any tips for just general entrepreneurs on how to integrate AI and let it help them build, expand, and grow their business?
The tip is what I mentioned here. I really feel like you have to understand all the different wheels that go into generating. So one of them is your prompting, right? So you want to learn how to generate the right prompts, but the other piece is your content and to know how these meets. So if you're in the business of AI and you want to create services, then learning how to cure your own knowledge and how to feed that into AI is going to be a huge advantage to you and the people that you are going to be advising.
That's a great tip. And it's been a theme that you've said throughout this whole podcast too, how important it is, which is great. And you've helped a solution for people to help make their experience with AI better and more profound and more accurate too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest on this podcast. Really appreciate it. It's been very insightful. I've learned something. I always love learning something new every day, so it's exciting.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
And
no, it's great. So this is Jenny.
If anybody wants to contact or learn more, it's optimalaccess.com.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah.
Optimalaccess.com. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Karan, for being here on this, I guess, as a podcast. This is Jenny Rice from AI Biz Box. Our AI Biz Tips podcast, signing off. Thank you again.
That's a wrap on this episode of Biz Tips. For more insights, join us online. We share exclusive tips, resources, and strategies to help you grow and scale your business. Until next time, keep building, innovating, and making an impact.